Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Curseof and welcome back to another video. Today we are here for a new little thing I'm going to be doing on the channel. As you guys know, this Speed Duel format is getting decently stale, but we got to keep Speed Duels alive. We got to keep this game going, and like I said, I'll be coming back with some Speed Duel content for you guys. So here it is. We have our very first Casual Tuesday deck profile. Basically, up until the release of the Speed Duel box, I'm going to be giving you guys a unique and interesting Speed Duel deck profile to hopefully keep you guys interested in the game, even if as a casual. So without further ado, you guys wanted it. You guys were excited to see the updated Dark Magician OTK deck profile. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to start things off, we have the skill of the deck being none other than Inner Conflict. If you guys remember the last Dark Magician OTK video, the skill used was digging for gold. After further, I guess, work with the deck and a big recommendation from LJ Drox, we realized that Inner Conflict is actually the better skill to use in this deck. Reason being, yes, you get the extra draw from digging for gold after your toon table thinning, but Inner Conflict just steals your opponent's monster and allows you to tribute it off, taking care of the removal aspect of the deck and also taking care of the tribute fodder aspect of the deck, turning the 5-card combo that we used to have now into a 3-card combo, all thanks to changing out digging for gold for Inner Conflict. This basically makes the deck way more viable, and thus Inner Conflict is now the skill we use for Dark Magician OTK. So moving off into the monsters here, to start things off, we have 3 copies of Dark Magician. This is pretty obvious that he was going to show up, as this is a Dark Magician OTK deck, so we need 3 copies of the legend himself. We need to hit those combo pieces as soon as possible, and I will say, this deck does OTK more often than Conflict Warrior. I mean, it is, you know, made to OTK, and it is OTK or lose, but still OTKs more often than Conflict Warrior, which is pretty damn epic. Although it does suck a little bit that people are preparing for OTKs so much with triple offerings and triple sphere to out a Jinzo OTK, because it makes our deck OTK less and makes our deck lose less. But regardless, we still OTK very often, and naturally we have 3 copies of Dark Magician. Next off, we have 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl here. This is our tribute summon, and obviously she combos along with Sage's Stone to give you guys access to a Dark Magician Girl and a Dark Magician on the field, which is 4,500 attack points, which can be relevant, meaning it does OTK through Golden Ladybug, which is super huge here. So we have our 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl. Also very important to mention that all these monsters are dark targets. For our next monster here, we have 1 copy of Legion, the Fiend Jester. Why run 1 Legion, you may ask? Well, for starters, it is a dark target, so it's basically never dead. And beyond that, since you play Inner Conflict and you're playing OTK or lose, people who are better players are going to say, okay, well, this is Dark Magician OTK. He's going to try and take my monster and kill me. So they're going to say, well, if I just don't give him a monster, he can't kill me. And then they will just not give me a monster if they don't have their offerings already in hand or their Sphere Karibo already in hand. And if they do that, I can't do anything in the game. So we do run 1 Legion to help against that just in the main deck, because maybe they just won't summon a monster on their first turn because they failed to have one. Or in later games, they will choose not to play monsters to play around it. So you need Legion. It's never dead. It's a dark target. And best case scenario, you can go ahead and normal summon it, tribute it off for Dark Magician Girl, and still go through the entire combo if your opponent doesn't have a monster. Next off, for the final monster, we have 1 copy of Toon Dark Magician. There are better Toon dark targets like Toon Mass Sorcerer and such, but you know, Toon Dark Magician is a Dark Magician card, and this is a Dark Magician deck, so it just feels better, man. But anyway, that is going to go ahead and round off the monsters here. Moving off into the spell cards, starting off, we have 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. Deck thinning is deck winning, especially in an OTK deck. You run 3 of these to go Toon Table into Toon Table into Toon Table into Toon Dark Magician, activate a lore, get rid of that Toon Dark Magician, and get 2 cards to your hand. Very, very powerful, and yeah, just getting rid of cards in your deck to increase your odds of drawing your combo pieces is extremely important, and that's why we do run triple Toon Table of Contents. And like I said, we do have a lot of dark targets. Technically with Toon Table we have 11 dark targets here, meaning that a Lore of Darkness is extremely, extremely important. In fact, with 11 dark targets and our 3 Lure of Darkness going second, which is what you need to do to OTK, you have a 60% chance of actually opening with a Lore plus a dark target, which is very, very good odds. Next off, we need this card for the combo. We have triple copies of Sage's Stone. You have to max out on your combo pieces. You need this to turbo out your Dark Magician to have enough damage for an OTK. And then finally, we have 3 copies of Dark Magic Attack. Another card that you need to max out on if you're going to OTK, because you need to be able to blow up their back row to have the highest odds of being able to kill your opponent that turn. Gotta out those Zomas, gotta out those Nightmare Wheels, gotta hope they don't have offerings, and then you gotta go win. So that does conclude the main deck there. Obviously we have 3 cards needed for the combo, that being Dark Magician Girl, Sage's Stone, and Dark Magic Attack. If you have all 3 of those cards, you do have full combo. You have a 16% chance to open up all those cards, but you have overall a 60% chance, so 16% to get the combo just in your opening hand, 60% chance to draw into a Lore plus a dark target. So your odds of getting the combo are very, very high. But anyway, moving on into the side deck here, we have 2 copies of Legion the Fiend Jester. This is obviously, like I said, why one of them is in the main deck. If your opponent doesn't summon a monster, you can't win. So going into Game 2 and Game 3, you tend to side in these Legions, because that way if your opponent even doesn't summon a monster, you have a way to play around that and actually have access to a monster yourself. So Legion the Fiend Jester is probably the most important card in the side deck for Dark Magician OTK. Next off, we have a triple Night Beam. This is here for basically decks that run chainable traps and spells like Offerings of the Doomed, or maybe you'll run into something that's playing Half Shut or Windstorm, cards like that that can be chained to your Dark Magic Attack activation and will not be outed by it. You need cards like these to answer that. So if you see a lot of Offerings, a lot of whatever, Night Beam, very, very important to throw in the deck there. Then for a final side deck card, this basically never comes up, but we have 1 copy of Thousand Knives. If your opponent can spam the board, it's important. If your opponent can't, then it's garbage. So it exists, it's there, it's useful, and yeah. So that concludes the main deck and side deck. We then obviously have our standard extra deck here. You know, nothing fancy. We obviously can't access it, but you always run it, because running an extra deck is very important, because maybe your opponent might think you're playing Relinquish and you're going to access your extra deck. But if you don't have an extra deck, chances are you're not playing Relinquished. So it's good to have it just to potentially throw off your opponent. In this deck, you're not doing much throwing off, but I recommend always having an extra deck available to you at all times. So, for those of you who did watch my original Dark Magician OTK deck profile, you guys will know that at the end of it, I gave you guys a sample, basically combo, and showed you guys how this deck OTKs. I'm going to do the same thing again for the new build using the Inner Conflict skill, and I'm basically just going to shuffle up my deck here for you guys, and I'm going to draw a 5-card hand, assuming I'm going second, and my opponent has 1 monster on their field, and they have full back row. So with that, let's go ahead and draw our 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Won't lie, this is a pretty bad opening hand. This is almost as bad as it gets. Luckily for us, we have 1 combo piece and a Lure of Darkness, so we can go ahead and draw 2 off of a Lure of Darkness. We'll leave the tournament pack Dark Magician in our hand, and we will banish one of the not as good Dark Magicians here. I guess I will move this so it's slightly within sight for you guys. So this is actually a decent bit better here. We have another Allure, and we have our Toon Table. So we'll activate our Toon Table of Contents to dump, Toon Table of Contents, and then to dump, Toon Table of Contents, and then to search our Toon Dark Magician. We still only have 1 combo piece, so we are still trying to dig for 2 cards here, but our odds are pretty decent, so hopefully we can manage to pull it off. Obviously, we will Allure of Darkness again, draw 2, and luckily for us, we did manage to draw into our Sage of Stone and our Dark Magic attack. And for those of you who do not know, Sage of Stone says if you control a face-up Dark Magician girl, special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or deck, meaning it is viable to summon one from your hand. Along with that, I will mention that if someone tries to Offerings to the Doomed You on activation of Sage of Stone, it will still resolve. It is not the same thing as Flute of Summoning Dragon, for example. But anyway, we'll activate Inner Conflict here, pay half our life points to steal our opponent's unknown set monster. We will then tribute off their set monster for Dark Magician Girl. We will then activate the Sage's Stone spell card to special summon from our hand a copy of Dark Magician. We then activate Dark Magic attack, wipe our opponent's back row, and we now have 4,500 damage on field to swing for game. They didn't respond to any of our previous plays, unless they have Sphere Karibo in their hand. We just won the duel here. So that is how the deck plays. Obviously, the more cards that you are able to mill with something like Toon Table of Contents, and the more cards you can draw with something like Allure of Darkness, the better odds you're going to have of getting your combo. Just inherently, you have a 16% chance. But overall, not competitive at all, but extremely, extremely fun to play. And honestly, I'd recommend all you guys to give this deck like 1 whirl over on Dueling Book. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, definitely a creation that I am very, very proud of. And so with that, this is the updated Dark Magician OTK deck profile that you guys did ask for this casual Tuesday. You guys now have a Blue Eyes deck profile, a Dark Magician OTK deck profile. And I did actually have a request from someone to do a Red Eyes deck profile for a future video. So on next Tuesday, we will finish off the trio, and I will bring you guys the most competitive version of the Red Eyes deck. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button down below, and also subscribe if you enjoy my content. And make sure you guys head on down to the description. Join my Discord. I actually posted this deck a while ago over on my Discord, so if you guys aren't over there, you are missing out. I do have big plans for the future of that Discord, and overall big plans for the future of the curseof Yugioh brand. But anyway, without any more talking here, and I'm going to stop rambling, I'll catch you guys all probably tomorrow for another video. That's a wrap, guys. Peace.